Hey, let's talk a little bit about the G-Class system that we're going to use to run Information 101. G-Class is a web information system, and as you go through the class, you're going to learn lots and lots about web information systems, but suffice it to say for right now that it's our class system. It's the system that's going to run our course. What does it do? Well, it delivers the course content. You'll watch a lot of videos and read a lot of text in this course, and all that is managed by the G-Class system. It's a way to do evaluations. All the fill-ins that you do that test your understanding of the lectures, as well as the level-up quizzes that you do, that's all administered through G-Class. For us, it's a way to record and organize your progress. So as you move through the subject matter of the course, we record it all. We record all the entries that you've made into the G-Class system and what the status of every module is, and it gives us a way, and you a way, also to organize everything that you've done so far in the class and see where you are. And in a more general sense, G-Class is the first version of a long-term project that we have going in how to gamify education. In other words, how to turn the educational experience into something that uses more of a game metaphor than the traditional lecture metaphor in order to give you in order to help you learn. All right, so let's start on the main screen. You'll come to the screen after you log into the G-Class system. And there's a couple of things I want you to notice right off the bat. The first one is that we have three big subjects: info issues, social issues, and tech issues. And those are listed right across the top. All the subject matter in the G-Class system is broken into those three areas. Within each of those areas, info, social, and tech, we have modules. Each of these little cards that you see is a module. And as you move through the course, you'll be doing more and more modules. And as you move through the module, you'll see that this card updates to show you where you are in that module. So how do you move through a module? You move through a module first by doing the lectures, which are videos in the module. Then, after having watched the videos, you do fill-ins. Or actually, I would propose that you do the fill-ins as you watch the videos. The fill-ins are sort of a transcript of what you see in the video, and gives you a place to test: did you understand and did you hear what was talked about in the video? So you go through the lectures and fill-ins. Then when you're ready and you've filled in all your fill-ins, you're ready to do a quiz. You do a quiz, and that quiz levels you up. So you can see we're already starting to use the terminology of gaming in this course. You level up, and the first way to level up is through taking a level up quiz. You finish with the quiz. You can, if you choose, do an assignment in that module. You don't have to do an assignment in every module, but you can choose to do an assignment, and I'll walk you through how that works. And you may also be called upon, and in fact it's very likely that you will be called upon, to review other people's assignments in that same module. So this is the way it works. You go module by module, and in each module, these are all the steps. Watch the videos, do the fill-ins, take a quiz. That's for sure that you'll do that in the module. And you might choose to do an assignment there, and it's very likely that you'll be assigned to do a review of someone else's work inside that module. Now let's walk step by step through what you do to complete each module. So here I have the card. I've zoomed in on one of the cards that's on that main screen of the G-Class application, and this one's called Computer Technology Basics. And we're right at the beginning. So nothing has happened yet, and we have a blue button at the bottom of the card that says Watch Videos. That's the first thing that you do. You do the videos and the fill-ins. And as I said, you do them pretty much simultaneously. So you click that button, Watch Videos, and then you come to a screen that looks like this. Let's talk a little bit about the structure of the screen, and then I'll talk about how you use this screen. First of all, up at the top, you see the subject. We're in the information subject, and you see the module. We're in the websites and other information channels module. And then under that, you see topics. The topics break the module down into smaller chunks, so that's a little bit easier to see what's in the module. But what you really do is inside each module, you watch a series of videos, and for each video, there's a set of fill-ins that you do. So you can see up there, right in that little area where all of those blue boxes are, that's your orientation. That tells you where you are in the system. We're in the information subject, in the module called Websites and Other Information Channels. We're in the topic called What is a Website? And we're really on video one of 6. And you can see those 6 little boxes there. Those boxes will update as you do things. As you fill in all the fill-ins, and they're all correct, you'll get a little check mark there. If you fill in some of them and they're wrong, you'll get a little red X. If there's nothing in there, you'll see the box in the state that it is in right now. Okay, so I think I don't have to say much about how you use the video. This is a standard YouTube video just embedded in our page. You click the big button and it'll start to play. Now, let's look a little bit at the fill-in area. So watching the video is pretty straightforward. What happens in the fill-in area? Well, if you fill in one of those boxes with a correct answer, you see you get the little green check, and that one's all taken care of. If you put the wrong answer in there, you get a red X and the box is red. So it should be pretty clear where you're at with the right and the wrong answers. One other thing to notice in this area is a little exclamation point. If you have an exclamation point in a sentence, that means that that sentence contains a vocabulary word. In this case, the vocabulary word is website. A website is information on the web that's more closely associated with itself than other information on the web. That's our definition of a website. And because it has that little exclamation point, you know that it's more important than your average fill-in, and in fact, it may appear later on the Level Up quiz. Okay, so you've made some fill-ins. There are two other things you need to know about this screen. This one is very important, submit your answers. So as you type in answers, when you hit submit answers, it'll actually bring them back to the system and tell you whether you got them right or wrong. Let's contrast that with this button here, which takes you to the next video. If I click the next video button without clicking the submit answers button, I'm going to go to the next video, but I won't have submitted my answers. So please remember to always hit submit answers before you hit the next video button. No big deal if you don't. You'll come back, they'll be empty again, and you'll just fill them in again. It's really not that hard if you make the mistake, so it's not a big mistake. Okay, so let's review videos and fill-ins and fill in any of the information that I might have missed saying. Videos are on YouTube, as I mentioned. They're usually around the 5-minute range. They go between less than a minute and a maximum of 8 or 9 minutes, but most of them are in the 5 minute and under range. I film them all over the world, and so you'll see as you go along, the videos are from all different places. I'm always updating and recording them, so if you have any feedback for me about the quality or the understandability of the videos, please let me know. So the fill-ins, some things you need to know. You can fill them in as many times as you want. They use a drop-down list. I didn't illustrate that in the last image, but you'll see as you use the system that as you start typing, the list scrolls to the things that you typed. Use that drop-down list to your advantage. Don't try to just type something in. Type in a few letters and see what choices it gives you. And if none of those choices seem right, back up and try another set of letters. So those drop-down lists are really there to help you. It's not a fill in the blank with no prompt. There's a big prompt on there, and if you know how to use that prompt correctly, you'll get a lot of help in filling in those fill-ins. If you find fill-ins that don't work for you, or for some reason you think there's no way I could possibly get this answer, let one of us know, and we'll check that out for you. Okay, so we talked about vocabulary words, and the vocabulary words have the little exclamation point on them. And if they have an exclamation point on them, that means they can appear on Level Up quizzes, and so you should pay extra attention to them. And as I said, pay attention to the submit button versus the next video button. The submit button logs your answers. The next video button takes you to the next video without logging your answers. Step 1 is to watch the videos and do the fill-ins. Step 2 is to level up. When you've filled in all your fill-ins, they don't all have to be correct, but they do all have to have something in them. When they're all filled up and you have something in every fill-in, then you can schedule a Level Up quiz. The Level Up quiz is the comprehensive quiz for that module. Let's take a look at how it works. So when you have all your fill-ins filled in, your card on the home page of the usingGclass site, the blue button will update to say Schedule a Quiz. So you've done all your fill-ins and you're ready to schedule your quiz. You click the Schedule a Quiz button and you're taken to a review page. The review page really gives you exactly the same information as all of those lecture pages or the video pages, but it gives it to you in a summary way so that you can study for your quiz. The point of this page is to study for the quiz, even to the point of having sample questions. So you can see down at the bottom of this image that there's a sample question, and these are real questions that are in the pool of questions that might show up on your quiz. So it's worth your while to look at this page and use it to study. Notice also that the vocabulary words are marked on this page with the same exclamation points. The wrong and the right answers are also marked on this page. And it uses a little accordion expand and contract thing. Anytime you see a little plus minus button in the application in G-Class, you know that you can click on it and you can expand and contract something. So this is the module, Websites and Other Info Channels. It's the Sites and Books lecture inside topic 1. I can compress topic 1 to see topic 2. I can compress lecture 1 to see lecture 2, 3, and 4, or I can open up any of those other lectures. Those are all the things that you can do on this page. So I click schedule a quiz. I come to this study page when I feel confident that I'm ready to take the quiz at the next small session. I click schedule a level up quiz. Then the application schedules your quiz. In this case, the quiz was scheduled for the 24th at 3:30 p.m. And at that time in your lab session, you could begin the quiz. In the small session of the class, you could begin the quiz. That's where our quizzes are all going to occur inside your small class meeting. Okay, so now you're done with that, and you can go on and do other work in the system. Whatever else you have to do in the system, you can continue on, knowing that you have a quiz scheduled for that time, and at that time, you'll be able to take the quiz. Okay, when you go back to your home page, notice that the button changes from schedule a quiz to study for your quiz, and if you click on that button, you'll go back to the study page and you can continue your studying. So the way you should do this is when you think that you're going to be ready by the next small session, click the schedule button and then continue your studying. So don't feel like you have to be ready to take the quiz at that moment before you click schedule a quiz. Feel that you're going to be ready to take the quiz at the time it's going to schedule you for it. And very likely, unless there's a lot of people that have already scheduled, well, actually, no, for as long as you haven't scheduled a lot of other quizzes, your quiz is going to be scheduled pretty much for the next small session. Okay, so there are more modules in the G-Class system than there's time for you to do them. In order to keep up with the class, do 2 quizzes per week. That will give you 18 quizzes by the end of the quarter. If you've done 18 quizzes by the end of the quarter, you're right up there with the class. However, there are more than 18 quizzes to be done. There are more than 18 modules in the system. So if you choose, you can do extra content, and that will give you extra credit at the end of the quarter. However, to stay on track, make sure that you schedule 2 quizzes per week. The first week is a bye, so that's why there's 18. 2 quizzes times the 9 additional weeks in the quarter gives us 18 quizzes by the end of the quarter. Do 2 modules a week, schedule 2 quizzes per week, and you'll be right on track. So you've got your quiz scheduled, and then you show up at your small class session, and your teaching assistant will turn on the quiz. So the teaching assistant turns on the quiz for the entire class, and when they do, they've changed something inside the system. But you may be sitting there with your G-Class system open on your desktop, and nothing happens. If that's the case, click the Sync Up button. What the Sync Up button, and I've got it circled here on the screen, it always makes sure that you're up to date with the latest things that have happened inside the system. Generally speaking, you don't have to click it. Generally speaking, when something new happens and you click something else, it automatically syncs you up. But in some cases, you have to click the Sync Up button. So the way that I would look at that Sync Up button is, can't hurt you. When in doubt, click Sync Up and see if that gets you to the place you need to be in the application. In any case, you're sitting there in front of the class, and the TA says, "Okay, your quiz is on." You click the Sync Up button in order to sync up with the fact that they just turned the quiz on. And when you do, you'll notice that your card changes. And instead of saying "Study for your quiz," now it says "Take your quiz." And you click the blue button that says "Take your quiz," and you go to the first question of the quiz. Of course, this one says question 4, but imagine that it's saying question 1. Notice this is a fill-in question. We have 2 kinds of questions. We have multiple choice questions and fill-in questions. The fill-in questions come from where? Do you remember? The fill-in questions come from the vocabulary words. So there's nothing new in the fill-in questions. Okay, so here's a fill-in question. I type in the fill-in. This time I don't get the aid, however, of the drop-down box. I have to remember. So it's worth your while to study those fill-ins and study them so that you can explicitly answer the question with the capitalization and any punctuation and anything that you need. So make sure that when you study for these, you study the answers very explicitly and you know exactly what goes in there. Then you click Submit Your Answer, and it goes on to the next question. Oh, here's question 1. And this is an example of a multiple choice question. These, by the way, are actual questions, so if you memorize these, you'll know one question that might possibly come up in your exams. Okay, so this is a multiple choice question. You choose the answer that you want. You choose Submit Answer, and then you go through the 10 questions of the quiz. Now, I might change it from 10 to something else, but you go through all the questions of the quiz. When you're finished, you come to a screen like this. I finished all my questions. Now, it may be the case, I hope it isn't, but it may be the case that you run out of time before you finish, and if you do, the next time you click Submit Answer, you'll go to the same screen. and it tells you what happened. You got 1 right and 9 wrong. This won't be you. This is me. I'm really bad at this stuff. So I got 1 right out of 9. And so here's my screen. I click the next button, the little blue button on the right side of the screen, and now it'll take me through a little review session that says, what did you say? What was the right answer? And if necessary, what's the key to the question? How do you understand the question? Okay, so this is how quizzes go. I say, take my quiz. I go through all the questions of the quiz. When I'm finished at the last question, it gives me a summary. And then as I move forward, it gives me all the remediation, all the explanation for the questions that I've gotten wrong. Okay, so let's review quizzes, and I'll talk about a little bit some other things that I hadn't mentioned in the screens. So there's 1 quiz per module, and the way the quiz is decided is, suppose in that module there are 20 multiple choice questions in the module, and there are 20 fill-ins. That's a pool of 20 multiple choice questions and 20 vocabulary words. That's a pool of 40 questions. From that pool of 40 questions, you'll just get 10, and it's a random selection of those 10 questions. So you're not guaranteed to have any particular question, but any question that you see might certainly be on your quiz, so it's worthwhile to pay attention to questions that you see as sample questions, for example, in the study page. Okay, so from the whole pool of questions, your quiz is a random selection of those questions, and it's a selection of multiple choice and vocabulary words. Okay, we're moving through the module. We did the parts of the module that are mandatory for everyone, which is to watch the videos and do the fill-ins, to schedule a level up quiz, and to take the level up quiz. Now you're finished with the required parts of the module. You now have the choice of whether or not to do an assignment in that module. Lots and lots of assignments in the system, and it's your choice which ones to do. However, if you do choose to do an assignment, you can only do 1 in the module. And I'll talk a little later about how you might go about choosing assignments. So you're ready to do an assignment? Let's do an assignment in the module that we've been working with. Notice that now, since we've finished the quiz, we're eligible to choose an assignment. So our big blue button changes to choose an assignment. When you click the big blue button, you go to a screen that looks like this, and it gives you a choice for that module of 3 assignments. In this case, we have Design a System is assignment 1, Profile a System is number 2, and to the best of our knowledge, Research Paper is a possibility number 3. Of those 3, you can choose whichever one you want. And so you look here, and in this case, I'm doing Profile a System. And so first of all, I probably would go to that Instructions tab, and I'd read the Instructions tab very carefully to see what's going on with assignments. After you've done a few, you won't need to do that anymore. You'll get the idea. Then I go to Profile a System, I read this very carefully, and I do exactly what it says to do. In this case, I'm going to find a system that's a competitor to Skype and profile it. So Skype is the voice over IP application, and you're going to find somebody who competes with Skype, and then you're going to do what it says, the to-dos, to hand in, and then finally under hand in, you'll see what you have to present, with some things on the side there that are additional constraints, like what should your slide deck be and what are the acceptable formats. We'll talk more about that as we go along in the class. So step 1, I click choose an assignment. Step 2, I figure out which assignment I want to do, and I do it. I go and do that. In this case, I create a slide deck. And now I'm ready, because I have my slide deck, I'm ready to schedule that assignment. So I go down to the bottom of the page, and I'm really actually still on the same page that you see in the background. I'm just scrolled down to the bottom, and it tells me what I need to do to hand in the assignment. Am I ready to hand it in? Yes. My assignment could possibly be a file or a URL. It's going to be a file if I use PowerPoint, for example, and I'm going to upload a PowerPoint presentation. It's going to be a URL if, for example, I use Google Docs to create my presentation, or I do it in a tool called Prezi, which you may or may not know. At any rate, either you're going to upload a specific file, or you're going to point us to the URL that contains the thing that you want to hand in as your assignment. Okay, and then you click Upload Assignment. When you do, the screen will come back like this. Your assignment has been submitted. Your presentation is scheduled for this time, and you can change files and links until your presentation date and time. And so the idea here is that you've submitted your assignment, but you can still make updates. And because no one in this case, until 9/24 at 4:15, no one else is going to be looking at your work. And so you can continue to mess with it and upload stuff. But the idea here is your presentation is scheduled as of your first upload. No presentation is scheduled until you upload something. However, you're free to continue to upload stuff until until the presentation time, and I'll be a little bit more specific about that as we go forward. Okay, so step 1, I click the button. Step 2, I choose my assignment. Step 3, I do my assignment. Step 4, I hand it in. And when I hand it in, this is what the screen looks like. By the way, you can see down here it says click to download the last file you uploaded. So if you want to get your file back and take a look at what you uploaded, because maybe you need a backup of it or something like that, you can click this and get it back down off of the system. Okay, so next what happens is you present your assignment to the two reviewers at the time you're scheduled. The reviewers are your classmates. You'll be a reviewer for other people. They'll be a reviewer for you. And you present your assignment. And you'll see in the assignment definition exactly what it is you're supposed to present. It's different for every assignment. But you'll present it in the small class or possibly in the large class to some of your other peers inside of your same section. Then that happens. They submit reviews of you. Then we evaluate your assignment. We also evaluate their reviews, but we evaluate your assignment. We give comments back on it, and we give it some kind of score. And then when we've done that, you can come back and you can get your assignment evaluation. Here's an example of an evaluation. This person got 10 points out of 10, and there are some comments in here. Right now, they're just kind of, for fun comments, but you can see that there will be comments, as well as any comments that were logged by your reviewers. The section down here where it says from lists all the reviewer comments. Okay, and when that's done, when your assignment has been evaluated, that module is done. And you can see here what a done module looks like, all done with this module. It compresses up on the home screen to give you room to see some of the modules that you're still working on. If you want to see what's going on in there, especially if you want to see your evaluation, you click the little plus button. That card will open back up, and you can click a button in there that says, look at my evaluation. And when you click the button, you'll see the evaluation screen that is right behind here. Okay, so let's talk about assignments in another way. I showed you the user interface, the way that you interact with assignments on our system. Let's talk about how the modules or how the assignments work. So there's 3 possible assignments per module, and you choose one. And as I said, you're not going to choose one in every module. You'll be selective and look around and see which ones you want to do and plan it out, maybe over the entire quarter, based on the weeks that you have time to do them and which ones you'd prefer. Each assignment has a different competency. There's 3 basic competencies that we test in those assignments. One is a builder competency. Can you build things? Can you make things? Another is a presentation competency. Can you stand up and deliver a good presentation? And the third one is a writing competency, which means can you write a good work? No matter which one you do, you're always going to be presenting it, but the presentation competency is focused on the presentation, whereas the other ones are presenting for the purpose of showing other people your work. Okay, so there are vastly more assignments in the system than you'll ever do. You need to do 8 over the course of the quarter, and there are 20-odd modules. So you're not going to do an assignment in every single module. You'll only do some in the modules that you care about, or not that you care about, but that you've chosen specifically to do assignments for. But however, there is 8 assignments due over the course of the quarter and only 10 weeks in the quarter, so that basically means you'll be doing an assignment every week. And as I said before, it's okay if you upload a rough draft just to get the presentation scheduled, because you know you're going to have to do a presentation this week. But you will be expected to present on the date that's specified, and there'll be a penalty for scheduling an assignment and then not having it ready to do at that time. So when you're reasonably sure you're going to be ready to do an assignment, schedule the assignment. In a similar way as when you're relatively sure that you're going to be ready to do a quiz, schedule the quiz. So you can schedule it, and it could be as much as a week in advance. So there's plenty of time in between the time you schedule and the time you'll have to do it. But once you schedule it, it's on the books, and you'll have to do it at that time. Okay, so in review, and sort of the bottom line here is you have to do 8 assignments by the end of the quarter. That's about an assignment a week. So starting in week 2, where you should be expecting to do at least 1 assignment every week. It's not 1 per module, but it is 1 per week. Okay, your final responsibility in a particular module may be to review someone else who's doing a presentation in that module. You never know when you're going to be scheduled. The scheduling of reviewers is done randomly from anybody who has time at a particular place in our schedule. So you don't know whether you're going to be scheduled for someone or not, and they don't know that you have been scheduled. You can tell them if you want. It's not no big secret, but they won't know ahead of time who their reviewers are. You will know ahead of time, however, who you are reviewing. If you've been selected to review somebody, you'll see that there's an extra little place in your card that comes up. It says Review Other Students. And under that will tell you who you're reviewing and when you're scheduled to review them. So here you are, you have this new little place on your card. Notice we've been using the same module over and over again. Computer Technology Basics is the module that we've been working on this whole time. And in this case, now that card has one extra line on it that says, please review this account. And in this case, it's a test account. So you click on that line that says, please review, and you'll get a screen that looks like this. It tells you exactly what to do in order to review that person. Now, you're not reviewing them at home, at midnight. You're reviewing them in the small class after they've created their presentation. Now, if for whatever reason you don't have your computer with you when you do this review, or you don't want to do it, you can certainly just take notes on a piece of paper, then go home or whenever you want and type them into the boxes here. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to do the review immediately, but you certainly are welcome to do the review immediately. And you'll see the criteria for your review, and you want to make as substantial a comment in each of those categories as you can to give the person solid feedback. Your feedback as a reviewer does not influence their grade. However, it does go directly back to them, and they see it. So it's your chance to give them honest feedback about what how you thought they did. And if you're smart, you really will give sincere, honest feedback that's not flamey. So we'll talk more about that in class, but just understand that this doesn't impact their grade, but it is serious, and you want to take it seriously. And it is also evaluated by us for how high quality your feedback was. Okay, so you click the button, you get this screen, and then you fill in the screen, and you say, okay, go, there's my review. And now you can see that that instead of saying, please review somebody, it says the review is completed. Then we go in and we review your review, we evaluate your review, and then when we've evaluated your review, the card changes again to say your review has been evaluated. So now we've given it a grade. And you can go in there and you can see the grade. In this case, the person's got 2 out of 3 points, and the TA commented that it was too short and too vague. Okay, so there's the review process. Okay, we've walked step by step through the process that goes on for each module, where you do the videos, you do the fill-ins, you do a quiz, and you can possibly do an assignment, and you're likely to do some sort of review. So what else is there going on in the G-Class system? Well, let's go through some of the other parts that are important for you to understand. Big one is how am I doing? This is accessed by clicking on the How Am I Doing button. You'll see there's a big green button at the top of the screen always that says How Am I Doing? And when you click it, you'll get a comprehensive view of how you're doing in the class. When I said earlier that the G-Class system allows us to track and organize your progress through the class, this is what I was talking about. This tracks and organizes your progress through the class. So let's take a look at the different parts of this screen, and I'll give you a feeling for how they work. First of all, a representation of you. There's the picture that you uploaded, a thumbnail picture of your a thumbnail picture of you, as well as your username under there. In this case, the username is _test1. Right, that's our user. So the next thing to pay attention to is the stats. For every possible way that you can get points in the course, it's all worked out for you here. In this case, Test 1 has done 365 video fill-ins. Now, there's video fill-ins and quizzes and assignments and reviews and in-class questions and bumps. We'll talk about the in-class questions and bumps in a moment. We've already talked, remember, about the fill-ins and the quizzes and the assignments and the reviews. All of those are things that you get points for during the completion of a particular module. Each one of those things has a scaling factor. So, for example, the video fill-ins have a scaling factor of 1. So 365 points you got in video fill-ins, but the bonus multiplier there is only 1, so you get 365 XP, experience points. That's how we measure your progress in the class, through experience points. An experience point can be bigger or smaller, the amount of experience points you get are bigger or smaller depending on the thing. There's so many video fill-ins, you can see 365 here, that there's no reason to multiply them by anything. However, quizzes are worth twice as much. So the way you can think of it is a video fill-in is worth 1 point, and a quiz is worth 2 points, and an assignment is worth 3 points, and a review is worth 2 points. So all of these things add up, and they all give you more XP, experience points. Now let me talk briefly about the in-class questions and the bumps. In-class questions are things that we do in class where we'll use our in-class surveying system that I'll talk about more in the future to allow you to log answers and participate in class discussions. So the in-class question bonus is going to be calculated based on your participation and how well you do on those in-class exercises where we use our in-class surveying system. Bumps are things that you do that are noteworthy. You've probably already heard me mention bumps before. They add directly to your XP. Notice, so every bump you get is another point. I might also mention that the scalars here, how much each one gets scaled by, I'm going to have to get some experience with the course before I see exactly how to scale it. So it's possible that by the end of the quarter, these scalars, like 1-time bonus multiplier for videos and 2 times for quizzes, it may be that I adjust that a little bit to make the grading more fair across those categories. Okay, in-class question bonus is for work that you do in class. Bumps is for extracurricular stuff where we give you bumps because you said something good or you did something good in the class. And those are all registered here as well, and they all count against XP. All of your XP, all of your experience points are all summed and put here. So that's your score. This person is at 547 XP right now. In the end, at the end of the course, your XP is going to decide your grade. High XPs get a high grade, low XPs get a low grade. I can't tell you right now what the level is, what you're striving for, because I have no experience with where students get in the system. In a year or two, when I've had lots of experience with the system, I'll be able to tell you at the beginning about what kind of XPs get, about what kind of grades. However, I will tell you that the amount of XP you get is really up to you, because there's more content in the system than is required of you as a student. And so if you don't like the amount of XP, just keep going, do more and more, do more quizzes, do more fill-ins, do more assignments, and you'll get a higher and higher XP. So the idea here is that how well you do in this class is really limited only by the amount of effort that you're willing to put into the class, not by some absolute scale. So if you blow a quiz, it's okay because you can just take another quiz. However, there's a finite amount of time in the class to schedule all that stuff, right? And so I wouldn't say blow a quiz because you can always take more. I would say if you happen to blow a quiz or do poorly on an assignment, you can always do more to make up for it. So your progress in the class is limited mostly by what you care or how much you care to do. Okay, down here is a status indicator. It says we're on week 3, and you lead the class. If you look down here at the levels, you get a level up every time you take a quiz. You get a level up every time you do an assignment. So this student, in effect, has done 11 assignment/quizzes. We don't know how many quizzes, how many assignments. It doesn't really matter. You get a level up for each one of those. And this student is at level 11. And level 11 is the highest level in the class. This guy is cranking. It's only week 3, and you're only expected to be at level 6 right now. See that expected level down there? You're expected to be at level 6. This person is at level 11. They're leading the class. You'll see that depending on where you are in the class, whether you're leading the class or just below the leader or right on par with the class or a little below the level, those little status indicators will change to tell you about where you are. So you can have a feeling of how am I doing at a gross level that tells you where you are relative to the rest of the class. Okay, over here we have badges. You get badges in this class by doing assignments. Each kind of assignment, each different competency, I mentioned there are presenter competencies and there are builder competencies and there are writer competencies. Each one of those allows you to get different badges. If you mouse over in the application, if you mouse over all these boxes, it'll tell you what the badge is that goes in there and how to get it. So you can create a strategy that says, oh, I'd like to get these badges, I want to focus in on these things, and really develop your own learning strategy for what it is you want to learn. If I was you, I would do half of the stuff in what I'm already good at. Like suppose I'm already a really good presenter. I do half of the stuff in there to get really, really good and to make sure that I'm doing well in the class. And then I draw half of them from things that I'm not doing so well in so that I can get better at writing or at writing or at building or at presenting. Okay, so that's the how am I doing screen. Hopefully this will give you everything you could possibly want to know about how you are doing in the class. Okay, the calendar. Up there on the top bar there, you'll see there's a calendar link. If you click the calendar link, you'll go to a course calendar. It has two things of note on it. One is your events. What are you doing this week? So all the things that you're doing. This person is doing a level up quiz for that module and is presenting an assignment for that module. Or at different times. And notice at 3:30 on the 24th, they're taking a quiz, and at 4:15, they're doing an assignment. If they were scheduled to review somebody else for an assignment, then that would show up there as well. So very personally to you in that box at the top, and then the overall class schedule below. So if you're looking for a course schedule, there it is. And it goes through every class. You'll see that we have Monday the 24th on there, and what we're doing in that class, where it's taking place, and what all the things are that are in that class. So if you want to follow along, download slideshows that we might be talking about in class, look at the instructions for activities that we're doing in the class, all that kind of stuff, this is where you go. The calendar has all of that stuff. Then there's the notebook. The notebook has 3 tabs in it. What I've done so far, the entire course, everything in the entire course, and my evaluations. I'm going to go over the entire course right now and the evaluations. There's a little button there that says Topics. That's a table of contents, so you can click on that little Topics button, and it'll give you a table of contents. Notice that this page looks a whole lot like the study page that you use to study for the modules. In fact, it's to study for the level up quizzes. In fact, it is a lot like that. It works very much the same way, except it's comprehensive, and you can get to it any time for any module. So it's quite a bit like the study page. It doesn't have the sample questions in it, but other than that, you can see that it shows you the fill-ins. It shows you that you got them right or wrong. There'll be exclamation points next to them if they're vocabulary words, etc., etc. So this notebook is a good way of looking back over the content of the course, maybe looking forward to see some content that you're interested in that's coming later in the course. Okay, next, on the same page, again, clicking my notebook, but now on the evaluation tab, is all of the nitty-gritty detail for each module, all the different points you got. You can see social issues, social networks and systems. They got 40 points, 40 raw score, the bonus multiplier of 1. They got 40 XP in that module for video fill-ins, for the level up quiz, for the assignment, and the reviews. So you can get infinite detail about, well, not infinite, but you can get the lowest level of detail you want about all your scoring in the system by going to the evaluation tab. All right, finally, changing your account. I can click on the little change account. Let's see, what's it called? It's called course information button. No, sorry, change my account. I can click on the little change my account button at the top and go to a place where I can change my password. I can change my in-class ID. I'll talk to you a little bit about that later. And I can change my image if I want to. Okay, so there you go. That's the overview of how to use the G-Class system. Always, always, always feel free to ask questions if you have any. And always, always, always scream out if you see any problems or any things that are hard to use in the system. We're really working very hard to try and create an awesome system here, and it's only going to be awesome if you guys pitch in and help showing us where the problems are and helping us to understand better ways to serve you with this system.